It is like we're on. It's live.
Hello.
So this is how we start the show now.
Yeah. Deedle deedle.
And that's why they call it artificial intelligence. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
I've been up to my eyeballs in this artificial intelligence.
I'm just trying to get some actual intelligence.
Yeah, it's sometimes you gotta outsource it to the machines.
I'm doing my best, but the machines are gonna win. That's how it's gonna go.
We'll get back to that later.
Indeed.
How's it going, man?
Real good. There's some stuff we're going to talk about a little later, but I've been in some action on some things that are important to my brand and my future and my thinking in terms of music, and so I'm excited to cover that. No gigs to speak of or rehearsals. I've been on weekend trips the last couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
we have not done our normal Sunday morning rehearsal, but next week will be one, and we're excited about it.
Sweet. So the only like music-y stuff that I've done is just kind of setting up calls. I'm actually gonna be doing that video that we were talking about with the Maestro folks.
Nice.
That's supposed to be tomorrow. So then I hope I'll have all the things I need to talk about that product and get going on it because yeah, it's pretty neat.
Super cool.
And then I bought my friend a guitar amp for his birthday. He's got like a stupid huge Mesa rig, so like you can't like play it at home.
Right.
So I found this little amp, this battery powered amp on Amazon, and it sounds ridiculously good.
You posted a video about that, yeah.
For $44 is what it was when I got it.
Jeez.
It's got a clean tone and a dirty tone, and they sound good.
Okay.
Like passable. So maybe we'll drop the link for that in the show notes. We'll definitely drop it into the live chat because once again we are streaming these episodes to see if we can get some traction. Because if we do, then we'll start streaming to all of the other platforms that we're on, like Instagram and all of that. And I don't know if any of you guys have been keeping tabs, but our Instagram kind of exploded this week.
Did it?
It did. The strangest thing, we have this channel on the Slack where people just exchange memes.
Right.
And one of our longtime patrons, Donnie, posted this really funny one about supporting small bands. And it basically, like, everything that it tells you to do gets progressively worse and worse. By the end, you're fighting the lead singer in the parking lot. And I just thought it was funny and posted it on our account, just not really thinking about it. And it's got like over 10,000 likes.
It's crazy.
As of today. And we've gotten like 200 new followers, and it just keeps on going. So much I actually took that same post and reposted it as a reel, or yeah, they call them reels on Instagram. So
yes. Yep.
And it's also doing well. So
there you go.
I went viral because of somebody else in our community.
Funny stuff wins.
Which is pretty cool. It's true.
Yeah.
You know what else wins? We do. Because you know what happened this week?
Ooh.
We hit number 32 top music podcasts in Ireland this week. So
kissing the Blarney Stone.
Big thanks to our Irish listeners. That's
Indeed.
Super rad.
No, it's awesome.
Oh, fun to do that. Okay, so let's go to reviews then.
Sure.
And this review is more of an email/post response to last week's episode. And this is actually from another patron, Jason Adler. He dropped this in this morning under the Rockmore channel, which is where you celebrate all the good stuff.
That's right. In the patron Slack.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a thing we haven't talked about in a while. If you are a Patreon member, if you join that, you get to join a Slack channel, private Slack environment with us. And when we started, it was like, come hang out on Slack with us. Like we were the draw. But these days, oh my God, we are clearly not the draw. It's, you know, 75, 80, something like that, people who are doing this thing and doing it well and doing it across the world. And it's a really amazing little community. So that's the beauty of joining the Patreon.
Yep. Absolutely. So Jason says, booking win ties into the cold email discussion. A new restaurant, bar, live music court venue opened here late last year. My bandmates tried to book with them in December, short series of vague emails, so on and so forth. Things went quiet. Found out the original booking people don't work there anymore and got new updated contact information. Sent an email the next day. And because they had kind of walked in and talked with a manager, that they were like, is this a warm email as opposed to a cold one? And of course, now we're getting into the temperatures of electronic mail, which is not a thing.
No.
Finalizing their first date for October 18th. And he actually included the email, like the body of the text in this post, so that anybody can take that and use it so that they can book at their venue of choice.
And unlike the email we dissected last week, it really is like, hey, thanks for your time. Here's who we are. Here are links about us. Here's our availability. Boom.
Yep.
That's it. It was really well done. So clean. Really good.
He also mentioned that in addition to getting that date booked, he put in a good word for one of his buddies groups, which solved the problem for them. And we all know that, karma, reputation, being a useful engine is a good thing. We want to be able to do that for venues and other musicians and all that good stuff.
Be a useful engine.
That's a Thomas the Tank Engine reference for those of you who aren't parents.
No, 100%.
But yes, that is our goal. And big thanks to Jason for sharing that. And if you want to get your hands on that email, it's $5. You can hop in and you're going to get way more than that.
100%. Oh my
God.
But
if nothing else, you get the one thing. So, you ready to move into it?
Let's do it. So it's been a while since we've done a meatballs episode. Sometimes there's a lot of meat on the bones of an episode, and sometimes it's meatballs.
Well, and there's been a lot of small things.
Just a lot of small things like meatballs,
but all of them relevant to it. It's more like this is a situation where we have too much to talk about.
No, they're meaty, and they're in a delicious sauce. It's just not one piece of meat.
Are we the sauce? Are we the
what is? I mean, the analogy is only. The problem with analogies is they all break down at some point. So we may have found that point, but regardless,
nevertheless,
it's a meatballs episode.
Yeah. So it's going to be a little bit of gear stuff. It's going to be a little of new feature software stuff. Just fun things to talk about. And the first thing is this box that is sitting right in front of me that came in the mail literally, I think the day after we recorded last week's episode.
Mine is across town in my practice space.
But this is the Maestro DMX.
Yep.
And it's a lot. I'm so excited about this.
We should start by just saying what the heck it is, because a lot of people probably don't know that name.
Yes. So for the uninitiated, Maestro DMX is a DMX controller that uses AI to whatever degree it is or isn't, but it listens to an audio source and creates a DMX show.
A light show. DMX is a light management, a programming language and protocol for light fixtures. So it takes audio and turns it into instructions for your lighting fixtures.
Correct. It's DMX is MIDI for lights.
Yeah. There you go.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
So yes, the Maestro DMX came in the mail.
Yep. And I've owned one since their I wasn't part of their, I don't know if it was Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I pre-ordered it after their crowdfunding campaign, but I've had one for a few months and been running it in the practice room. I have not taken it out to gig yet, but the light shows it produces in the practice room are pretty credible. Mm-hmm. And you got yours a couple days ago.
I mean, it took like 10 minutes to set up.
Yeah.
They've got all of the fixture profiles built in. Mm-hmm. So in our case, we've got two of the 4-bar OG, like the original 4-bar LEDs, we've got a pair of those, and then we've got a pair of the Chauvet color picks, which are like floor style uplights.
Yep.
I told them how many we had, and I plugged them all in order, and started playing some music, and it just started doing stuff.
Yeah. Made a light show.
And it's real good.
Yeah. It's real credible.
And it makes me really upset because, you know, we were talking about how we were just doing the red, blue, green.
Yeah.
Watching these fixtures do things I have never seen them do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I've had these for 8 years.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah.
And part of the thing is that the 4 bars audio driven preset is pretty bad. I tried it for a while. I tried to dial it in and I gave up on that. And I just used it in a auto color changing mode so that sometimes I'm green and sometimes I'm blue and sometimes, but
and we tried messing with them. I went so far as to like take like gaff tape and put it over the microphone for the sensor. So like turn it all the way down as far as it'll go and then cover the microphone to see if we could get it to do something musical. It never did.
Yeah. But what comes out of Maestro D-Max is musical. It really is. And it's actually able to, it's an AI, right? So internally it's a black box. You have no idea what it's quote unquote thinking. But it does seem like it understands that verses are going to come in multiples of 4 bars, and that at some point there'll be a thing like a drop or a change or a move into a chorus, and it needs to update its whole self to catch up with that change. And it oftentimes I have found myself headed into that and it's already there and it's done the thing. I don't know. Is it as good as a human being at a console? No.
Well,
but
I don't know. I've definitely had lighting guys who clearly didn't know the songs.
Fair.
And it's pretty comparable to that.
Fair. No, it's comparable to that.
It's like, oh, it is changing. Boop.
One of the best indie show light shows I've ever seen was a full truss with like a lot of components to it and a guy driving it in the back who clearly knew the songs. And that was transcendent. The lights really added to the show, like significantly. This isn't that, but it's way, way, way better than the things just on auto timed change or the things trying to listen to you and doing something along with the beat. It's way better than that.
Yeah, it is. There's an intelligence to it.
Yes.
And I don't know if it works on like it has to learn things, but I've been playing music through this thing for like days, just watching my lights dance down here.
So cool,
in the,
isn't it? It's so cool.
Podcast dungeon.
Yeah.
And yeah, every time somebody came down here, it's like, you know, it looks like I'm just sitting in a rave, but it's been so much fun. And so I've definitely got like the basics. I got my fixtures figured out. I got the, you know, they're on the right channels and they're doing all the things.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what the company wants us to know about it that goes beyond just the general familiarity.
Yep. And our deal with them was you're going to get one. I already have one, and they're going to do one-on-one training with us and set up with us, you know, onboarding into the system with us. I am buying some new hardware to make that happen. I'm buying some stuff that I am going to, you know, I have this plan around my new 80s brand. That's includes upgrading the stage setup, including lights.
Sure.
So I'm already sort of shopping what those pieces are. We'll talk a little more about that whole thing in a minute. But I'm excited to talk with them about how to have those pieces really work really well. So yeah, it's exciting.
Very excited.
It's a very cool thing.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot more chatter about this product over the next month or so. So if you're looking to get into this kind of level up in your live show, we will hopefully be giving you some good info.
Yeah. The beauty, I mean, I've been super intimidated by the whole lighting programming world. Like it's just, it's been a thing I've known I could go down that rabbit hole, but to have this little box that I could set on my router and route audio into and have it just do the thinking for me, it's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm stoked to have, like, when we get our next rehearsal, I'm gonna set all this stuff up
Of
just
course.
to
Absolutely.
watch everybody's minds
100%.
explode.
No, you're going to melt faces. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, so do we want to talk more about AI stuff, or do you want to shift gears and we'll get back to it?
Let's get back to it.
Okay. So you got your thing. Go ahead and tell us about it.
Meatball number 2. So I reached out to, I shared on the podcast a few months back that I reached out to the place where we played St. Patrick's Day last year and said, hey, how about this year? And it was, that guy sends very short emails. And so I send him very short emails, and I've learned how to talk to him that way. I reached out and said, hey, thought about Halloween? When do you think the party's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because Halloween's on a Thursday. And
yes,
he came back and said, how about the Thursday? You in? I was like, yep. It's 8:30 to 11, $500 like last time. He said, yep.
Okay.
Booked. Done.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I reached out to the other place I've played on Halloween, which is famous because of my mentioning of it, Pig Pounder Pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
And I, the new manager there, who's great, I reached out and said, hey, had thoughts about Halloween yet? I think the party might be happening the Saturday after for most folks. And she said, sure. Is your 80s band ready to go? I said, we'll be by then. Let's do it. So I booked a brand that doesn't exist yet, my new 80s tribute band. And, you know, when we get closer to it, if that's not coming together, I'm sure I can change horses with her and be the general purpose band. But I'm currently booked there with my new 80s brand that doesn't exist.
One of us. One of us.
There's no escape. There's no escape. So the point is, the beauty here is, and I've done this to myself a few times in my life, and it's really, it's a pattern that has worked for me, is to set myself a deadline. I have until, what is it, November 2nd, I guess, the Saturday after Halloween, to get this 80s band together. And so what that means is I have pulled the trigger on the plywood and other kinds of wood that I need to build my Rubik's cubes for my stage. And crucially, I did post a picture of this on the Patreon Slack, which is another reason to pay $5 a month. I did post a picture of myself in my new Miami Vice Sonny Crockett white linen suit with the pink t-shirt. That particular suit is actually going back. It's not the right answer. It was close, but not quite what I want. It was a little, it wasn't eggplant. Nope. Here we go. Better.
All right.
Yeah, it wasn't the real problem with, first of all, the pants were thin. It's a linen suit for $90 off Amazon. 90. And the pants were so thin that you could see the pockets through the pants. So I don't love that.
Yeah.
I don't love that. And then the jacket was not actually big enough on me to roll it up like you need to be Sunny Cross. So that has to go back. It's not the right concept. The pink t-shirt, however, those of you watching on the live stream, here it is. Perfect. The pink t-shirt, unimpeachable. So we're getting there. And part of it is setting a deadline for myself has got me in action and in gear in a way that I have not been about. I've had this idea for a long time. I mean, probably since I met you, frankly.
Yeah.
And I'm only moving now because I booked it and I have to solve this problem called I booked it. But, you know, now we're leading into a concept. I sent this picture, the same picture I put on the Patreon Slack. I sent it to my band and said, all right, get your 80s.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. Get your 80s Halloween show together. You know, Taylor, I need her in a neon tracksuit with like a scrunchie on the top of her head because it's happening. So get organized around that. And I think it's a really powerful thing to set a deadline for yourself and make it so that you have to solve the problem. Because I have not solved the problem. I've taken no action about it until literally, I booked this gig and now I have to.
Yep. And I've done this before on a couple of projects. Warped was definitely one of those where
Yeah.
like we booked the show before we had the songs.
Right.
But it was one of those things where it's like, if I don't start this, it's never going to happen. So
Right.
get it out there. And we definitely have not been able to do as much as I'd like to do with that project, but it exists. And it is a thing that people inquire about, like it's out in the world.
Mhm.
So we've got some ideas and maybe we'll get to them this year, maybe not. But the next thing that would be for us to do like emo live band karaoke, which is again a thing we've never done before.
Right.
So if we end up talking with a venue and getting something like that booked, it will definitely be at a point where we aren't prepared for it. And then you just got to get ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah. You got to throw yourself. There's a story I heard about young John F. Kennedy in Ireland with his brothers and cousins roaming around the family estate in Ireland. And they wanted to explore beyond the fence, but nobody had the courage to do it, jump over the fence. Oh my God, that's a big thing. And JFK took off his cap, because they all wear floppy tweed caps, and he threw it over the wall. And it was like, why'd you do that? I said, well, now I have to get over there.
Yeah.
So I invite you to consider throwing your hat over the fence, because that's how you force yourself out of comfort. It's how you force yourself into that thing you've been thinking about forever that you've never taken action on. Yeah, book it. Throw your hat over the fence.
Easy peasy.
Get there. Well, no, not necessarily. It could be hard, but
well, no, the booking part, like the booking the thing that doesn't exist, is kind of
yes,
that's
that's
not hard.
the easiest part. And then there's a lot of work to do. But if you're gonna force yourself into doing it, it's gonna take something. So yeah, book it. Throw your hat over the fence. Get there.
Cool beans. Is that the other topic right there? The leading into?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll just eggplant over
Yeah.
that. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is absolutely breaking news. This dropped not even like early today. It dropped this afternoon, like after I quit working. But Logic Pro 11 was released today, and it contains a ton of really great features. They've expanded their kind of AI instrumental plugins. So they've had Studio Drummer for a while, but now they've got a keys version, a bass version. So they're kind of spreading that out. There's some other machine learning. It's called, what is it called? Chroma, eggplant. They have this machine learning enhancing sweetener app that they call Chroma Glow.
Yes.
That a friend of mine literally was texting me right before we started. He was like, "This is the coolest thing." But the biggest deal in our world is that they announced that they've got a stem splitter built into the program now.
Yeah, and we've been playing with some. They've been out there for a while, but this one's something special.
Well, and for Dan and I, we're both Logic 10 users. I bought that software like 8 years ago. And they were like, hey, Logic 11's coming out. And guess what? It's a free upgrade if you've already got one. Right. So, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Just to get that as a free update. So, literally, as we were like hopping onto this call to start the episode, I updated the software. I was like, I've got to figure this out. This, it can't, I need to know. So, I grabbed an MP3 file, just a random file off of like my hard drive. I threw it in there, and at first I thought it was going the distance by Cake, but it turns out it was going the distance from like the 70s. It was like this very epic kind of orchestral piece, and I just ran it through the machine, and it separates vocals, drums, bass, and other, which is the stuff that you're gonna think: keys, horns, guitars, strings, all kind of be there. And I was absolutely flabbergasted by how good of a job it did splitting those out. And I was like, okay, that's a unique arrangement, different instrumentation. Maybe it was just, a one-off because of this weird selection. So I went and I grabbed a a live performance from Teddy Swims, threw it in there, and the separation is astonishing. The vocals have no artifacts in them from any of the other instruments. You're going to get some of the standard kind of phasey sound around the drums as they're kind of pinching frequency ranges and stuff, but it is all perfectly workable, and the isolation is astonishingly good. So for people like us in the cover band world trying to make sure that our versions sound as close to the record as possible, well, this just, at least for me, opened up a lot of possibilities. I know there's other folks who've been doing this forever using Museo and other services, but again, this is, I didn't have to pay for it. It literally just showed up on my machine,
built into your tool,
and it rips.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah. So now you can make tracks from originals, and it's as good as original stems. It's good as original recording stems.
Yeah, because that's what they are.
Yeah. Amazing.
So, I mean, I was doing that with the Mog files from Guitar Hero back 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's how we did it with the, back in the day. This cuts, I don't know, 1,000 steps out. So very excited for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been using Logic for 20 years at this point. It's my weapon of choice. And the fact that they're just throwing just awesome feature updates for free.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Just bananas.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Now, you had some other stuff you want to talk about in regards to tracks, and we're always looking for the best ideas, and this stem split is great, but what do you want to get into?
Well, listen, so my 80s group we've agreed it's going to be a track oriented deal. Because I don't have a keyboard player. I own a guitar, and I started playing piano when I was 5. I mean, I can play it, but I don't have the personnel. I don't have the whatever. It's gonna be a track oriented deal. I discovered a new app called Jam Zone, which I was previously unaware of. That is a little bit of an upgrade over Karaoke version, in as much as it is an app that lives on your devices or on your computer that can put out edited tracks to audio in a way that's kind of unlike what Karaoke version does. Now, I think probably, and somebody mentioned this, and I'm not sure how much I believe it, but behind the scenes, I think it's probably all the same stuff. I think it's basically the same track. I think they're owned by the same people. I suspect they're leveraging a library that is in common, but the beauty of this app is you can do the mixing on your own device and end up with an MP3 that is your track in a way that's a lot cleaner than Karaoke version. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you were thinking about it and you only have Karaoke version as the reference point, imagine if the multi-track playback on their website worked for the whole song.
Right.
And so you can just be like, all right, well, for this song, I don't need bass and I don't need drums, but I need a second guitar. You can literally just mute and solo tracks as you go.
Yeah.
And it's got, you have the ability to add automation and all of these other things. A buddy of mine who is doing live band karaoke, he's like, this is what we use.
Yeah.
Because it's the song list is so wide.
Yep.
And it's just easy to just drop something in moments notice.
I can totally see you could use it live. Just pulling stuff out. It plays as it plays the track, it is also showing lyrics and chords. You could
well, now because you wanted to, oh, there it is. Okay.
There it is. Eggplant. The point is it's a very cool source for band backing tracks that I've never considered before, and I just found it a few weeks ago, and I've been starting to build tracks for the 80s project that are from that, and I think it's going to be a really awesome tool.
Yeah.
So Jam Zone, check it out.
I've wanted to try it out. I got a little gun shy when I downloaded Stage Tracks, and because they use the same file format as the company I work for, it bricked my company's software.
Ooh.
so I can't use it. You know, my hope is that Jam Zone may be a little less harmful to
Yeah,
my day-to-day operations.
could be.
Fingers crossed. And last but not least, this is just something
Our final
that
meatball.
we're really, it was brought up by cover band podcast superstar Adam Moskowitz. He 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 just sent a link for this website called Suno that does AI songs,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote the thing wrote a theme song for the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
then
it's got
I went
it's
there
got our
and,
names in
and,
it?
and tried a few. I built a few after that, and yeah, it's amazing. I gave it a prompt that was 3 sentences long, and it made a whole song out of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So we will definitely be attaching a few of those to the
Yeah.
end of this episode.
Yeah,
If you've got a favorite, let us know. Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. I mean, the theme song that we've got is the one that I recorded, I don't know, a couple years ago. But if there's a part of this that usurps my little pentatonic descending riff, it's-
yeah,
it's great. But it's up for debate.
for
It's
sure.
up for
No, if the AI can stomp it, then
that's what we'll do.
yeah.
What was that line? That it's the we'll make you the kings and queens of the live music affair.
Yeah, we'll make yes, exactly.
That is, you
Yeah.
got to hand it to artificial intelligence, because it's not an artificial intelligence. Shame, fear
Yeah.
of rejection.
Yeah.
Because I would never in a million years write that
No,
line on a piece
that
of paper.
verse went, don't need original tunes, no need for the stress. We're all about the covers, so you got to impress. Rock more and suck less, that's the motto we swear. We'll make you the kings and queens of the live music affair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much wrong with that. No human would ever write that and then like ever see the light of day again. Can you imagine? But AI has no shame. So
yeah. It's giving the bed that eats people.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
So you guys enjoy this treatment of whatever it is that
Here we go.
but let us know about it.
Yeah.
We'll put it into the show if
Yep.
that's what has to happen. And maybe Mike gets the week off this week.
Possibly.
We'll think about it.
Yeah.
Well, if that's it, big thanks to the folks on YouTube. Big thanks to the folks on Twitch for hanging out with us this evening, and we'll keep doing this and see if it does anything. Otherwise, I'll call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of May 17th, 2024.